questions. You get 3 minutes each. We'll rotate. One will go first, one will go second. We're also still accepting questions from the audience. You cannot ask those from your chair. Please give it to Janet Rail in the back. She'll bring them to me, and I will use discretion on these questions. Gentlemen, you will also have 5 minutes. Closing remarks. Ricky Howell, we're going to start with you. And introduce yourself, and you've got 5 minutes.
My name is Ricky Howell. I'm a lifelong resident of McNairy County. Been married to my wife Hope for 25 years. We have 4 wonderful children. I've been in law enforcement for many, many years. I got out of law enforcement for a year, opened my own business. Since then, we've opened 2 successful businesses. I've got back in law enforcement with Hardin County. They sent me to school as an SRO, which is a school resource officer. And it really, really impacted my life. An SRO is an officer that is assigned to a school. The school that I was assigned to had 731 kids in it. And in that year that I was in that school, I built bonds with them kids. The kids would email me when they had a problem, if it was at home or whatever it may be. It's very important that we reach out to our children. Our children are our future. If we don't grab them now, they're going to graduate school and we're going to lose them. My goal as elected sheriff is to put officers in our schools. I realize that there's funding that we need to put officers in our schools for 8 hours a day. If we put officers in our schools and be seen and be known, the kids, we make them grab our kids and bring them back to us and cut down on the capacity of the jail. After they graduate, our hopes are to cut down the limit of inmates in the jail. But that's my goal as sheriff if I'm elected. Thank y'all.
Hello, I'm Guy Buck. I hope you know that I am your sheriff, and I have been your sheriff for the last 8 years. I am not from McNairy County. I was not raised in McNairy County. I did not grow up in McNairy County. I always make a joke that I got here as quick as I could. One of the first things that I noticed when I came to McNairy County in 2000 was that there was this ideology that we don't do it that way here, or we can't do it that way here. And it bothered me. It bothered me enough that in 2010, I was convinced that if I ran for sheriff, and I ran on my qualifications, or if I ran on my education, or ran on my life experience, that I could make a difference in law enforcement in this county. I believe that over the last 8 years we've done that. We have reduced property crimes by over 50%. We did that in the first 4 years. We've increased drug arrests by over 300%. Now with that comes a cost. Everything about what we do is easy, and one of the hardest things I learned is that everybody doesn't like you when you're sheriff. And that was one of the hardest pills for me to swallow. Whenever when I got ready to run 4 years ago. But we have spent 8 long years, y'all, making a difference here. We spent 8 long years proving that if we embrace technology, that we embrace advanced investigative techniques, that we can not only do it as good as everybody else does it, but actually do it better than most do. I promise that over the next 4 years, I'm not done. There's still a lot of opportunities. One of the subjects I'm sure that we'll talk about tonight will be school safety. For 7 years, y'all, I've battled with the county commission trying to get school resource officers in the schools. We're not done with that. There's a lot of opportunities coming up this year that may provide funding for that. So that's something that's exciting over the next 4 years. Here's the jail expansion, and I'm sure there will be several questions asked about why we're doing that. And I'll explain the good and bad of it. But I do believe that what we're doing works. I do believe that what we're doing has made a difference. And I promise you that if given an opportunity over the next 4 years, you'll see me work just as hard as I have for the last 8. And I believe that I believe in McNairy County, y'all, and I believe in McNairy County to be strong. We do have to have a strong law enforcement. So I appreciate your support tonight and on the second.
Now we're going to get to a series of questions. And Mr. Howell, I'm going to have you go first on this one. And let me remind you guys that if you may have addressed some of this in your opening remarks, feel free to go back over this and use your 3 minutes wisely and maybe expand on some of those comments in the intro. Kind of tell us what you plan to do with your ideas. First question is, what are the greatest challenges facing the Sheriff's Department? And what course of action needs to be taken to address these challenges? Mr. Howell.
I believe the greatest challenge facing the Sheriff's Department today is drugs in our community. We have drugs in our schools. I think if we reach out to our schools and we mentor to our children, I've seen it in schools, as an SRO, if we can reach out to our children and keep them thinking that law enforcement are not bad people. I've had children tell me in the middle school that the only run-ins they've had with law enforcement is when mom and dad gets picked up of an evening or on the weekends. That's not a good outlook for a child to have on law enforcement. We need officers, if they just have to drop by school and talk to kids and fill kids in on officers and let them know that officers are not bad people, that we're out there for them. I think we can reduce the crime rate for our juveniles. Our young people are the ones that are repeat offenders. And if we can reduce that, I think that the county can move forward and law enforcement can do their job.
Mr. Buck, may I read it to you again?
Sure.
What are the greatest challenges facing the Sheriff's Department, and what course of action needs to be taken to address these challenges?
Unlike any business in America today, the county, that includes the sheriff's office, is faced with constantly having to do more with less. Every year, we have greater demands based on our resources. We have increased call volumes. We have increased expectations from the citizens when we make those calls, and we do that without increased funding. So that is the biggest challenge that I face. One of the biggest challenges that the county faces right now is we have an overcrowded jail that is understaffed. It is a huge challenge financially. It's also a huge challenge from a liability standpoint. We can talk all day long about different things every day that I deal with, the medical issues in the jail, crimes that aren't solved, but the bottom line is there's not one thing that's going to fix this. There's not one thing that I can say if we did this one thing, it's going to fix the sheriff's office. It's every day we go in and we depend on, or I depend on the employees that work for me to go out and represent and to do the right thing. I just hope that here in the future that they're given the tools and the ability to do it to the best of their ability. And I think they'll make me and they'll make you proud of the process.
Thank you. Sheriff Buck, we're going to start with you on the next question. Some of this has been said a little bit. Do you face challenges with recruitment in the department?
When I took office 8 years ago, y'all, the starting pay for a deputy was $21,000, and about half of the department was probably working at $23,000 or less. It's impossible for an employer, for a sheriff, to go find those quality applicants at that pay rate. Now, working with the county commission, and not without an increase in our budget, we have increased that to $27,500. Our starting pay right now is $27,500. That sounds like a big improvement, and I'm real proud of it. The only problem with that is is it's probably about $12,000 less than most of the counties that surround me. So is it hard to recruit somebody? Yes, it's hard to recruit somebody, but it's more hard to retain those people. There's a lot of people who will take that job when they come in the door for lower pay because they want an opportunity, they want a chance. So they get in the door with me and we train them. In my opinion, we make them to be a really good deputy. And what do? They take the first job that's offered to them for $12,000 more than what we're offering them. So yes, it is a challenge. I perceive it to be a challenge, for at least the immediate future. And again, it's not just the recruitment, it's also the retention.
I'll have to agree with Mr. Buck on that one. From working in Adamsville and working in Hardin County, I know that there's deputies over here that make less than when I started out in Hardin County. So to recruit an officer over here with less pay and him get out and work the same hours that the other officers are working, it's hard to keep them when another job comes up. But the thing, if we can put them on a shift to give them more home time with their families, these jobs are stressful. Any of these officers will tell you that when they climb in that car in the evening or in the morning, these jobs are stressful. You don't know what you're up against. You don't know what the next call is going to bring. So the more time that we can give them at home with their families and their kids, I think the better we'll have the opportunity to keep our officers with us.
Thank you, Mr. Howell. All right, Mr. Howell, we're going to start with this one. This is kind of a three-part question. And we've heard of safety in our schools. How do you plan to improve safety in our schools? What specific concerns you have on school safety? And number three, the school resource officers, SRO, are you in favor of those?
I'm definitely in favor of an SRO. SROs are a lot more to a school than a protector. They're mentors to these kids. These kids look up to these officers. These officers talk to these kids. They play ball with these kids. They do bonds with these kids. These kids don't forget that. So many times, kids will come to these officers and tell them things. I could go on and on about things that these kids will come and tell that's happened and have drug busts at their home. We've done that in Hardin County. A kid come and sit down in my office one day and go about a drug bust that mom and dad's doing on the weekend. We busted drugs out of a home just by a kid coming in the office and us doing a check on it and sending drug task force out and sure enough they got to go in the house. There's so much more to an SRO. SROs are important. I know that the county don't have the funding to put an SRO in every school 8 hours a day. It's expensive. But if we can use the resources we have and put not necessarily SROs, put officers in the schools for what period of time of day that we can do it, to let these kids get familiar and let these kids know that there's going to be an officer come through this school. They'll look forward to that officer coming in, and hopefully we can make a difference in that child's life and get these kids to talking to that officer and making a difference to their own lives.
Thank you, Mr. Howell.
I can assure you that there's nobody in this county that has a greater passion for school safety than I do. I have one son who's already graduated from McNairy County Schools. I have two that currently attend the school, so I can assure you I'm invested in the safety of our schools. SROs are very important. I'm going to talk about that at the end. But our schools, we have 8 schools in this county, and every school is unique, and every school has a different challenge. Some schools have been very proactive, and they've already enacted single point of entry already, and that's really important. And I believe by the time that this school year starts, we'll have maybe 4 that'll be having single points of entry. But that's just a start. Some of our schools, it's almost impossible to do that. So that's a huge physical challenge that can't be met, individually just by an SRO. So school safety is more than just the SRO. Now, for 7 years, I've fought for SROs. The reason that I've done that is kind of like Mr. House said, they're there for the security of the school, but they're also there to teach. They're also there to mentor. It's a very successful proven program. We have presented budgets for 7 years to show that the county commission what it's going to cost. To put an SRO in every school, it's about $500,000 the first year. To continue that in 8 schools, it'll be about $350,000 for every year after that. Guys, when we get down every year when we're working on the budget, we get down to dollars. We get down to hundreds of dollars. We get down to $1,000. So when you start asking for $320,000, it's tough. It really is. I will tell you that there's $44 million available this year in grants from the state. Now, the process of doing that involved us, the county, the sheriff's office, and the school system, submitting a survey. I can tell you that we were the first to the trough. What I mean by that is we sent as many officers. I sent 4 officers to the training so that we could do all of our schools as fast as we could, so we could get that information in, so that when that information was looked at, they could see the dire, the distress situation that we're in, and maybe we'll receive more of those monies to start it out. I do believe that if we're given the opportunity to put SROs in the school, you will see the impact of it, you will see the significance of it, and you will see that it will be successful. If we only got 2 y'all, it would be successful. If we put it in our high schools this year, I would consider that a huge win. And maybe from that, we can grow the program to what everybody wants as an officer in every school.
Thank you, Mr. Buck. Okay, Mr. Buck, we're going to start with you on this one. Now, this is kind of a three-pronged question also. How can a proposed jail expansion benefit McNairy County? Is the jail a profit center for the county? Will an expansion make a difference?
I may not answer in order, but we're going to address the jail. Is the jail a profit center for the county? No. The jail is a revenue source for the county. It always has been a revenue source for the county. We have generated upwards of $500,000 a year for many of the years I've been in office. Things have changed, y'all, and our jail has changed. We're not housing those state inmates anymore. We've become overcrowded, and we're not able to house those state inmates. So it actually, the jail expansion addresses 2 issues. It reduces the overcrowding of the jail, and it allows us to generate revenue at the same time. I don't want to say it's a profit center, y'all. Jails are not designed to make profit. But if you're going to operate a jail, today the jail costs $820,000 a year to operate. It doesn't matter if I've got 20 inmates in it or if I've got 140 inmates in it right now. It costs $820,000 a year to operate. If we expand that jail and we staff it up, it'll cost us right at $1 million a year to operate it. But at the current rates, y'all, if we just fill up the expansion alone with state inmates, that generates $911,000 a year in revenue to the county. So is it a profit center? No. But will it support itself? Yes. I believe, let me just say one other thing too. I don't want a jail. I wish we didn't have to have a jail. I wish we didn't have to lock bad people up. But that's the purpose of a jail, y'all, is to keep bad people away from good people. And unfortunately, some of them have to be in jail. If you put people in jail and you overcrowd the way we are so exposed to liability just from incidents that happen in the jail and also from the injuries that happen to our officers. So at some point, we will be forced to expand the jail, and we're way ahead of the curve on this job. Again, I don't believe there's a business person in this room that would say that for an $800,000 investment, you can make $911,000 a year. I think that also was a good move. That's mine. Thank you.
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say that the jail expansion is provided by state inmates. State inmates, if I'm wrong, is supposedly going to pay his debt. State inmates are, how much is it? how much does each state inmate get, how much do we get paid to house state inmate? Anybody know?
You know,
$40. $40.
$39 a day.
$39 a day. The brain. It's the brain. Rapists, it's the brain. Killers, it's the brain. People like that in our community. And now this is my opinion. This is my opinion. We're going to house people in our backyard that is going to be acceptable to escaping from this place, that can be in our backyard. And this is just my opinion. I'm just not for it.
Mr. Howard, you're wrong. We're housing our inmates that are convicted in this county.
Sheriff.
Have always served out in this county.
Sheriff, you'll get a chance to close your comments.
Absolutely. I understand what he's saying. But when you bring state inmates in here and federal inmates in here, and you're getting paid $30-something a day to feed them, house
The
them,
same inmates we've housed for 24 years now.
so we're not bringing in anybody else that have paid the $1,000,000-something back to
$1,000,000, I don't know what that number is.
$1,250,000 that's going to be already in the building.
Thank you, Mr. Howell. What we're going to do moving forward, if you want a
I
rebuttal,
apologize.
just save that. Ask Mayor Selmer. There he is. Hang on to that thought, and at the closing remarks is the appropriate time to do the rebuttal. Now, Mr. Howell, we're going to start with you on the next one. How have the demographics changed in the jail in recent years, and why are more locals in jail?
I think that's because we're not in our schools and we're not getting to our young people. I think that the majority of our repeat offenders are our young people, and they have no respect for law enforcement, and they're out doing these crimes, they're going to jail, they're bonding out, and they're catching them again and bringing them back. We need to get to our young people, and we need to show them that law enforcement is not what they think it is.
The jail demographics are complicated, and they are driven by drugs. I don't deny that at all. If meth were out of McNairy County, I don't think we would have a housing problem in our jail. But guess what? Meth's not leaving McNairy County at all. It's not going to leave. And with that said, we have a jail population that is generated completely because of drug use, whether it's the use of, the possession of, the sale of, or committing a crime to obtain drugs. That's why people are in jail. So with meth, we've identified all these new demographics. We have younger people in jail, and we have women in jail. About 30% of our population today is female. That's unheard of whenever, even 8 years ago when I was in office, but it's not unique to McNairy County. It's across the state, it's across the whole country. So our demographics have changed. We have filled our jail up with pretrial inmates, and I don't ask for, or I'm not asking for I'm not apologizing for doing my job. We put bad people in jail to do bad things, and that's what you're elected me to do.
Thank you, Sheriff Buck. All right, Sheriff Buck, we're going to start with you on this one. And you've touched on this somewhat, but it's been said that crimes are drug-related, and what can be done to control the drug problem in McNairy County.
I've been in public service for almost 34 years, y'all. I started in law enforcement when I was 17 years old in the Air Force. I've seen every drug that's coming and gone throughout time, and I've never seen anything like that. With that said, there's always been a head that we could address with most drugs. Most drugs out there, even when it was crack cocaine here in McNairy County, or when I worked in Memphis, crack cocaine in large city, there was always a head issue to cut off. Unfortunately, with meth, y'all, it's Medusa. There's heads everywhere. We can cut one off today, and there will be 5 more in this place tomorrow. It's too cheap, it's too readily available. we could go into a very complicated talk about how that is the economics of why those drugs are here. But if I had the antidote that would take drugs out of McNairy County, I wouldn't be sheriff. I would be something way greater than that, because I don't have the answers. Hal doesn't have the answer. Nobody has the answer. We can start talking about getting to our kids when they're young. There are a lot of wonderful programs out there that talk about, we have dare officers that work for me that I teach there every day. They are also qualified SROs. We spend time in the schools beyond the DARE program. But unfortunately, people make bad choices, y'all, and that is an extremely addictive drug. There's also, on the very near horizon, y'all, we're going to be low on heroin in McNairy County. We have a group or a demographic of people in our county that have been addicted to opioids for 20 years. The prescription laws have changed, and when they are legislated to the point that they cannot prescribe it anymore, they're going to find a cheaper alternative, which will be heroin. We've already had some of it in McNairy County. It's already in Karn. We're seeing it in Savannah and Jackson. We're going to see it here. I don't have the answer. I can tell you that strong enforcement is the response to it, and we will do this on the sheriff.
Sure. Thank you, Sheriff Buck. Mr. Howe, it's been said that crimes are drug-related, and the question is, what can be done to control the drug problem in the county?
If elected sheriff, I would like to see officer meetings once a week. I would like to see reports that's done every week, so officers will know where the high crime areas are, so we can put cars in them areas. But let these drug dealers know that we mean business, that we're not going to play with them, that big, small, middle, whatever, it doesn't matter. Forget the little man, get him, get the middle man, get the big man. It doesn't matter. We need to know where they're coming from. We need to have officers in that area. And if we all get together as a department and work together and have meetings and know where the high crime levels are, that's where we can put officers and do the job.
Thank you, Mr. Howe. Sheriff Buck, if you get that meth antidote, bring it to Alcorn County. Certainly that is a problem everywhere, and we're not immune to that where I live. All right, Mr. Howe, you're up on this one. What can the department do to address thefts in the county?
I'm going to answer that about the same. I'm going to say department meetings once a week, pull incident reports from the week, officers go over, know the high crime areas, make sure officers are aware of the high crime areas, we're seen in them areas, put our officers back on the back roads where the crimes are taking place or wherever the crimes may be taking place. I'm not in that office right now. I can't tell you where the crimes are taking place, but I can assure you that there will be officers that will, and every week we'll have a department meeting to go over our activity list to know where the crimes are taking place, so every officer will know where to go and where to watch and where the cars can be seen.
Thank you, Mr. Howe. I got no additional questions from the audience.
Correct.
Okay, I'm sorry, yeah. How are you going to address thefts in the county? And don't blame this on Alcorn County either.
We're going to keep everybody in Alcorn County out. No. Honestly, y'all, in 2010, our department was not progressive. We were not proactive in law enforcement. We were not proactive in investigations, and your houses were being broken into at a rate of about 150 a year. Today, I can tell you that it's about 70 a year. That's 70 too many, but it's 80 less than when I took office, and I'm really proud of that. We also lock those people up that are breaking into those houses, and we put them in jail. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So you can't say that you want to get out a lot of drug dealers do not want to have jail put in. So with all of these strong enforcement, there are costs, and I said it earlier, there are costs. There's costs to everything that we do, and full jail is part of it. One of the most, I guess, flattering things that was ever said to me was said to me by a gentleman from Hardin County. We did a search warrant at his house just over the county line in Ellisville, and we recovered about $4 million worth of stolen property. This is about 3 years into being sheriff. And we went through the list. We had Hardin County there, we had Henderson County there, we had Chester County there, we had Auburn County there, we had Prentice County there. Is it Benton County next to the other one? We had every county around Tippah County. We had Shingle County there, and they were all recovered stolen property. This was less than a mile from McNairy County. Now, one piece of property from McNairy County. I looked at that young man straight in the face and I said, why are you not stealing in McNairy County? He said, because y'all investigate crimes and you'll come get us. And we did. And we still do. And we always will.
Thank you, Sheriff Buck. Correction on that county, that's Tipper County with an R. All right, here comes the fun part, the closing remarks. And I'm going to go off the schedule here. Sheriff Buck, you're going to go first, okay? If there's something you want, and you got 5 minutes, and this is a closer. At the end, if there's a rebuttal segment to something that Mr. Howell says, you got 1 minute to do that, okay? So now, Sheriff Buck, your closing statements.
Again, y'all, I've been your sheriff for 8 years, and I hope that I've proven to you that having somebody that's qualified, that's educated, that has life experience, it makes a difference in the office. We are not that department that said that we can't, or that says that we can't do it or we don't do it, because we can do it and we do it. I'm very, very proud of the department that I get to lead. I use that word. I think I use it appropriately. I don't go out and work every crime. I can't. There's only one of me. I don't micromanage my employees. I've empowered my employees. I've trained my employees. I've equipped my employees, and I've allowed them to go out and do the good things that I hope that you get to see the fruits of every day. I'm proud of the McNairy County Sheriff's Office. I'm proud of what we've done in 8 years, and I'm also proud of what I think we can do over the next 4 years. I do believe that school security is a thing that will happen these next 4 years at some level, and I do believe that the jail expansion is a positive thing. I'm not naive enough to stand up here and say that I'm going to be tough on drugs and not fill up a jail. I'm not naive enough up here to say that I'm going to be tough on property crimes and not fill up a jail. Guess what? That's the reality of good law enforcement, and with it comes a full jail. We're dealing with it. I think we're dealing with it as a county in the appropriate way, and I will stand behind that decision as long as I'm in that office. If anybody in here thinks that I'm looking to bring bad people to this county, well, shame on me for not letting you know, because I didn't let you know. The purpose of the jail expansion is to house the inmates that we are currently shipping out of this county for somebody else to make money off of. We're not going to bring rapists to McNairy County. The state don't let us house rapists. We're not going to bring murderers in McNairy County because the state doesn't let a county jail house murderers. That's not what a county jail is for. It's designed for people who are serving short sentences so they can be close to their families, so that and also it produces a revenue line for the county. There's no reason for us to be giving money to other counties. There's no reason for us to be giving money back to the state when it's our hard work that would fill up those 64 beds and pay for the jail expansion in short term. I don't want to beat a dead horse, y'all, and I do apologize for interrupting Mr. Howe, but I am very passionate about my job. I really am, and I'm very proud of my job that I've done. I'm proud of the people who work under me and for me, and I really look forward to the next 4 years, and I hope that I'll be able to do that as your sheriff here in McNairy County. Thank you.
First of all, I want to thank everyone for listening. I also have a lot of goals for our county. I also run against Mr. Buck last time and had a lot of great ideas that time. I went and I done my homework when I left. Got certified as an SRO, school resource officer. I see how important it is. Our kids need protection. Not only protection, but they need that mentor. The mentor in the school is unbelievable. I can't preach that enough. I know, just like Mr. Buck said, we can't afford SROs in every school, 8 hours a day. It's a tremendous cost. But we can put we can put officers in schools. If they have to leave a school to go on a call and come back, them kids know them officers there. They know them by name. They're not afraid of them. Hopefully that can build a bond with these children. And these children, as they go through school, will get to know these officers. And as officers move up with them or how they go to schools, it'll keep these kids out of trouble. That's my goal for our county. Our county means a lot to me. I have 4 children in it. 2 of them already graduated, 2 of them still in high school. I would never wish nothing bad on our county. I've always tried to be a fair officer to everybody. And I just want to bring it to our county I love. Thank y'all.
I'll be very brief, y'all. I've spent my life hiring, firing, supervising, managing, leading investigations, doing the things that qualify me to be this job. And I'll admit that our children are our most valuable resource. But in a day's time, y'all, honestly, it's not what I spend all my time on. It's not what I spend the majority of my time on. So think about if something happens to your family, if something happens to your friends, you want somebody who's been there, who has done that, who has led those investigations, who's managed those people. I can assure you that the proof is in the pudding, and you give me 4 more years and we'll make a good pudding again. Thank you. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Guy Buck and Ricky Howe for participating in behalf of the Independent Appeal and McNairy County Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for a great job.